You're allowed to sing along if you feel like it. Let me start with a question. In your circles this week, have people been getting along better, or have there been more fights? Like whatever you encountered, not necessarily your circle of friends, like in the street or wherever you've been. Same? What?
Yeah.
Same? Good, that's good. That's better than more. Yeah? But you?
I think, at least in my group of friends, getting along better.
Baruch Hashem. But you?
I don't quite know. I'm not sure.
Okay, so the reason I asked that, so unless anybody has a preference to start somewhere else in the Parsha, I'm going to start at the beginning. Yeah? So, the Sefer Shmot, Baruch Habo, you're welcome. It's one of the, it's the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim. It's like the most often mentioned story in the whole Torah. It's actually mentioned 50 times. And it is basically the central story of the Jewish nation. The ongoing story, not yet totally resolved. And a number of years ago, somebody did, I don't know who did this, but somebody wanted to know which is the most present Jewish book in Jewish homes in America. Which Jewish book the Jewish home? And it was the Haggadah. Some facetiously say thanks to Maxwell House, because Maxwell House is the print.
Those are the Haggadahs I had.
Yeah, you have one? I don't have one of those. I have a nice big collection, but I don't have a Maxwell House Haggadah.
Not here, but that's what we use at my grandparents' house for
Yeah.
Easter.
You're also familiar with it? Yeah? You're not, because you're from Canada.
Yeah.
Maxwell House is not that big in Canada. Nescafe is bigger.
They have Tom Hortons Haggadah.
Tim Hortons.
Right.
Tim Hortons.
Yeah, you've heard of them? Yeah. Oh, he was a hockey player. You know?
Right.
Yeah. He was good too. Okay, so the Sefer Shmot is the story of the Exodus is the most important, the most important story in the Torah. And in fact, we're commanded, Leman tizkor et yom tzitcha me'eretz Mitzrayim kol yemei chayecha. We're commanded to remember Yetziat Mitzrayim every single day of our lives, right? And that's the reason that the third paragraph of the big Shema, right? How does it end? Ani Hashem Elokechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'hiyot lachem lelokim Ani Hashem Elokeichem, right?
Mhm.
In other words, we always have to remember that. Okay. And then we have Pesach, of course, right? Where we celebrate the Yetziah, right? We celebrate the Exodus. So the question is, what is the story besides being a historical story? What is the story to us today? What is the meaning of the story? If I have to remember it every day, so it's not just okay. I remember, it's like to really remember something means to be conscious of it, and not just in the sense this is an event that happened in the past, but ever since we were redeemed from Mitzrayim, we are free people. Okay, and so in what sense? Like if you're living in America, or you're living in Canada, or you're living in Yerushalayim, Baruch Hashem, we're pretty free people today, right? So what's I should remember today? What do I need to remember besides being thankful for the fact that we've been redeemed? It has to be something that is like alive and real today. In other words, to really remember something, when you remember something that's very deep to you, as soon as you think about it, you go into that space. Like if it's something like really happy and you think about some really happy occasion, you go into that kind of a way of being, a way of feeling, right? So for example, another thing that we're supposed to remember every single day is Har Sinai, getting the Torah of Har Sinai, right? It says in all this forums that that when we're learning Torah, we should be learning it and experiencing it as if we're receiving it now from God, right? Lo kol kach pashut, not so simple, right? But the I don't know if you ever saw anybody learning Torah on that level. There are some people, but it's not that frequent to that we get to see somebody that's learning Torah as if they're right now standing in front of Har Sinai. Right? So why? So there's another thing that we have to remember, and remembering means to remember it so deeply that you're experiencing it right now. Right? Okay. Judy's at a birth. My wife is a birth coach, so I want to see if hopefully there's some good news already. No, it's not happening. Hi, Yisrael. I'm giving a shir for next hour still. Okay? I'm in the middle of giving a shir, Parshat Shmot. Okay, I'll be finished around 9:40. 9:40. Okay? Goodbye. Okay, so did you ever visualize standing at Har Sinai? Did you ever try to visualize it? They're not leaving me alone. Hold on. Huh?
I think that's intimidating.
What is very interesting that you said that. I think
Like,
I
I'd be
understand you.
scared.
You'd be scared to
Yeah.
stand there. Well, we were scared. We were full of fear while we were standing there, right? Okay. And what do you say? May I have you?
No, I don't think so.
Would you like to?
Maybe I'd be really inspired by That's
Okay.
the
So do you think that in the next 24 hours you would try to do that? Great.
I couldn't imagine it.
I know that you could,
Yeah.
but do you meditate at all? No? What about you?
Yeah, I have, but not deeply. I didn't like delve into like the feeling of it.
And I think that Esther Chaya, yeah, well, wow, great. I'm so bad with names. Okay.
Oh, you've known me too long.
Huh?
Said you've known me too long. Can't
Yeah.
forget Esther Chaya.
Okay, so when Esther Chaya said it's intimidating, it is. Because, like, for example, when the Alter Rebbe describes, what, like, like to be in the presence of God is intimidating. It goes without any question. It's like, but at the same time, I imagine it to be like the most empowering thing as well. Right? It must be tremendously empowering. Yirah, right? Yirah is a fear of God is like a very, very important thing. Now, but keep in mind that the word Yirah is the same word as seeing. Okay? In other words, the more you are conscious of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, the more we're conscious of Hashem, the more we're in awe of Him. And awe is not that there's fear, like oh, I don't want to touch this; it's too hot. I'm afraid I'm going to get burned. Right? There's fear of that something might happen to me. Right? But then there's, believe it or not, it's a famous quote. Nelson Mandela, used to say it also. Reb Sholom used to quote it. And that man is more afraid of the light than of the dark. We're more afraid, huh? Reb Sholom used to say it's a fact. We're more afraid of being aware of how much we could do and how much we're capable of achieving than we are of the dark. Okay? We're more afraid of making peace than we are of making war. Does that make sense? Look at history. After all these years, how come the world hasn't achieved peace?
I don't think they're scared of peace.
Well, okay, so then why don't they want it? Let's put it this way. If somebody would, how should we put it?
I think it's like a fear of like the unknown. Like if you say like yes, people want peace all the time, and I believe people do, but like they don't understand what that really means to like want peace and what is peace, and that actual idea of like peace and like Gan Eden, I think scares people. Scares.
So you're in adult education, so then you have to go and teach the whole world.
Working on it one step at a time. But like
good.
Yeah, we don't know what peace
you don't know. Yeah, you don't know what it is. You don't know that other side of things, that like it's all illuminated, and the fact that everything's illuminated. I think as much as like it's something I know that I want personally, but like it's hard, it's scary, it's like changing, it's like picking up and moving here. It's unknown.
And also having to trust people.
Right. And
right?
like putting your faith into something that like you don't know what's on the other side.
But I also think there are different kinds of peace. Like there's like Shalom Bayit, and then there's like world peace. And like I think Shalom Bayit is something that is like more attainable, and then there's like other levels that are just seemingly impossible.
Who was it that once said? I know that Reb Sholom said it, but I don't know if he was quoting it from somebody. I think he may have been quoting it. strangely enough, or as strange as it may seem, okay, it went something like this. One morning, Yankel and Chanel got up, and their children woke up, and they picked them up, and they hugged them, and they told them, "We love you so much. You know, you're the best. We'll do everything that we can for you," and so on. And at the other end of the world, two people who were fighting stopped fighting. At the same time, in another household, parents got up and they were fighting and they were putting each other down and they were screaming at the kids. At the other end of the world, two people got into a big fight. Okay? In other words, what's being expressed over here, the reason I'm saying this is because you're speaking about Shalom Bayis and world peace. Okay? So in our tradition, the view is that they're related. In other words, when you make Shalom Bayis in a home, right, it has a ripple effect across the world. If Shalom people, if we're fighting amongst each other, okay, I'm not a Novi, okay, but I'm just talking about things that that we find written in the Nevi'im and in the Mefarshim. You think that there's no? You think that the world is ganging up on Israel now, just stam kacha, and that it has nothing to do with the fact that we have so much work to do for Shalom Bayit within Israel?
No, but what's connected?
Barur is connected. Barur to you, Barur to me, Barur to all of us, right? As they were preaching to the choir here, we're all.
But people that either don't believe or don't want to see are going to say it's connected.
They're just going to blame each other.
It's not connected, and they're going to blame. It's because of the time.
Because of you guys, because of you guys, because of you guys, because of this, right, and so on. So the point is that whatever situation we find ourselves in, okay, we are all in the same boat. Okay? In other words, some groups are going to say, "Oh, it's the Tel Avivim that are responsible for this." Some are going to say, "No, it's the Yerushalmim that are responsible." Some are going to say, "It's this group, it's this group. You're not religious enough. You're too religious. You're this, you're that, whatever it is, right?" We're all in the same boat. The enemy is not making any distinctions between one city in Israel and another city in Israel. Right? So we're all needing to experience Geulah very. Do you mind doing that? I'll wait for you.
I have vegetables.
Okay. Hi, Ben. How much do I owe you? $158. Excuse me.
No problem.
My sister was getting on Sherry to the airport. I just want to make sure. She's there. It's an American number.
It is the house 001.
And then just the number.
On there.
Okay.
So you're from Canada?
Yeah.
Where?
Montreal.
Montreal? Oh, nice. A little Toronto switch up.
You're from Toronto?
No, most people are from, that I know that are Canadian are from Toronto.
Right. It's bigger. Bigger.
Where
Where are you from?
I'm originally from Kansas.
You live in the Florida? So then,
You're visiting now, or you're here? Or you live
yeah,
here?
I'm in the Reb Sholom.
Oh.
Do you take any classes with Rabbi Silva?
Yes,
She teaches you on Mondays. You know about that?
I saw on the schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, she teaches us how to run a Jewish home. It's a really cool class.
Are you just post high school or you post university?
Post university.
And you did your degree where? Concordia?
Yeah,
In what?
an actuarial math. An actuarial.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Was Professor Boyarsky one of
Yeah.
your teachers?
Yeah. Rabbi Cohen also.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the head of the mathematics department.
Who is Rabbi Cohen?
Yeah.
He's at Sadik.
Yeah. He gives Torah classes too.
There at Concordia? Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
At lunch sometimes.
My brother used to study actuarial math. And
Yeah.
then he went into finance. Yeah.
Oh, I did a minor in finance.
Yeah.
Still trying to figure it out.
It's my brother.
What?
Did you have my brother? Professor Brat?
I had, I think, Professor Broad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's my brother.
But I don't remember the face. Does he look like you?
We're similar, but he doesn't have a beard.
Oh,
He was the
think
head,
it's
he
where
was
you
he was
also-
the head of the Molson School for a while too.
yeah, the name, like, I'm sure I had
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if he teaches undergrad. You were doing grad or undergrad?
undergrad.
Undergrad. Yeah. He was like, the head of finance in the MBA program.
Yeah.
He's still there. Yeah. Okay. Let's get back to what we're saying. So imagine that we're in we're locked into some kind of space, okay? And in order to get out, every one of us has to achieve maximum personal strength. Okay? You have to be your strongest. You have to be your strongest. You have to be your strongest. I have to be my strongest. And if any one of us is not doing that, right, the rest, none of us are going to be able to open the door. Okay. So if you think in those kinds of terms, right, so that has a lot of implications. One of them is I got to be the best I can be. Another one is I've got to help anybody that I can help them be the best that they can be. It's also in my best interest to help them be the best that they can be as well, right? Okay. So we're all in the same boat, and we all have to experience liberation from that from that aspect of our being that prevents me from being the best that I can. Okay. So the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim is actually a very personal story. It's a model which teaches us how enslavement begins, how it develops, and how to get out of it. Okay? So remembering Yetziat Mitzrayim every single day, or even like the Baal Shem Tov said, or the Alter Rebbe said, every single hour, to remember that I am free. Okay? So if somebody calls me and says, I need a favor, right? And let's say for some reason or other, I don't feel like doing this person a favor, right? Because I'm upset with them, or because I know that it's important, but I'd rather go to a movie right now, or I'm just too lazy to bother with this, or whatever the reason is, right? That's my Mitzrayim, that's my Egypt, that's my exile right then and there. And I need to know that we have been liberated, and that if I want to do the right thing, I can. Okay? And if I'm not wanting to do it, it's up to me to sit down and to figure out, okay, what is blocking me from doing more? What is blocking me from doing another favor? What's blocking me from being a really good friend? What's blocking me from being the a good son, a good daughter, whatever or like a better student, or from learning more Torah, or from giving more tzedakah. What are these things that are blocking me? Those are my Mitzrayim, because the word Mitzrayim, if you change the vowels, the same word, the same letters, you have the word Meitzarim, which means narrows. Okay, in the Kabbalah, Paro is represented as being the narrows of the neck, the constriction between the mind and the heart. Right. So we all know it's so easy to learn something and to say, "Wow, that's so beautiful," but to actually apply it, to live it, is so difficult, right? Because Paro says to Moshe, Moshe, you know, you and your whole Judaism, you're just a mind trip. Everything from the neck down is my territory. And in fact, not only is it my territory, but you are going to be my slave. I'm going to enslave you. And the Talmud says, in a very sharp metaphor, the Talmud describes the degree to which the divine soul can be enslaved by the animal soul. Okay? In the Chabad Chassidut, Dr. Rebbe explains that what do we each of us consist of? Okay? Besides that we all have bodies, right? That we have a divine soul, Nefesh Elokit, which is an actual, he calls it Chelik Elokam Mimal Mamash, an actual part of God. Okay? Nefesh Elokit.
Then we have the nefesh.
Pardon?
Yeah, no, like the animal feeling. Like
And the other one is Nefesh Bahamit. Okay?
That's the word.
Nefesh Bahamit, Behema, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is my Nefesh Bahamit, which is like sort of the operating system of my physical reality. Okay? The Nefesh Bahamit's agenda and goals is self-gratification and self-preservation. And when it's corrupted, it'll go for that at any cost, and no matter how much you may have to step on other people, God forbid, or something like that, right? You can see it in a very physical situation, like when people like you've heard of people stampeding out of a small place, right? And people get trampled to death because everybody's trying to get out and everybody's trying to save their life, right? And in the more polite setting, right, on a day-to-day basis, we're engaged in competition, and hopefully we're engaged in competition that is fair, but like everybody wants to have a bigger share of the pie. Right? Everybody wants to have a bigger share of the pie. As a matter of fact, the whole economy is based on that. It's based on man's on that desire to have a bigger share and a bigger share of the pie. Right? Otherwise, what are you going to sell? Why should I buy this new, this new winter coat when the one from last year is perfectly good? Right? But we want a bigger share of the pie, right? Nefesh Elokit, on the other hand, is interested in unity, is interested in bonding with Hashem. And the example that I like to give is sort of like whatever you think of it. A 10-year-old is having a birthday party and his mother bakes him a cake and she says to him, every guest has to get a piece of cake, right? So the kid understands math, and there's 5 guests in the room, and he looks at the cake and he sees, every piece is pretty big, right? Another guest comes in, my piece is getting smaller. Another guest comes in, my piece is getting even smaller. Another one comes in, my piece is getting smaller. Like how much, like. But on the other hand, the Nefesh Elokit is saying, wow, with a little bit of flour and sugar and eggs and
You can feed 20
and-
people instead of
and
five.
I can make 20 people happy, right? I can make another person happy. I can make another person happy. I can make another person happy, right? That's now, who is the boss? Who's your boss? Is it your Nefesh Elokit or is it your Nefesh Bahamit? Right? Well, and it's much more natural for the Nefesh Bahamit to boss the Nefesh Elokit, even though in reality the Nefesh Elokit is far more powerful. Okay, but the Nefesh Elokit has to get out of Mitzrayim. Right? It has to work at getting out of these Mitzrayim, to work at getting out of these narrows.
But the Nefesh Elokit has to work together in there. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, like, okay, tomorrow morning I'm going to go to shul and daven and learn, and I'm going to be there on time. And you wake up and the Nefesh Bahamit says, no, you're not going so fast. Right? You're not going so fast, right? Okay? So, but the Talmud describes the enslavement or the exile of the Nefesh Elokit within the Nefesh Bahamit in the following words: Ganva apum machtarta rachmana karyale, which means a thief, as he's breaking and entering into somebody's house, he's praying to God for success. Mister, excuse me, what are you doing?
Praying
I'm
for
stealing.
somebody gets out safely.
Are you allowed to steal? No. Are you not afraid you're going to get caught? Not really, because my soul is praying to God for success, right? In other words, you can get the thief says to his soul, tonight we're going to rob, and you're coming along. You're not staying home studying the books. You're coming along, and you're going to pray that we succeed. Ad kidei kach, right? I get angry at somebody, and I say to my intelligence, you're going to really think of some good ways to cut this person to pieces, right? Or and that's enslavement. Or like, you just like, I cannot make peace with this person. No way. What do you mean you can't? Sure you could. You don't want to, okay? You're enslaved. You think it's beneath your dignity to make peace with this person. You think it's beneath your dignity that you might have to apologize for something that you did. So these are like, just a few among many, many examples. Every one of us knows our own personal Egypt. You don't need somebody else to tell you, I know. Every one of us knows it personally, right? So what is the process of the Exodus? How do you get out? Okay. So the next 15 chapters in Shmot is all about that. Okay. It's all about that. So I want to share a few teachings from the Lubavitcher Rebbe, okay, that I was learning tonight. So since you have a Chumash and it's open, right? So let's look at the first pasuk. These are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt. 8 Yaakov, together with Yaakov. 8 also means together with. And There's another Chumash, by the way. These are also Chumashim. It's okay, you can share it, no problem. Each one came together with his family. And then it lists the names: Reuben, Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, Zvulun, and Binyamin. Dan v'Naftali, Gad v'Asher, bless you. V'hi kol nefesh yotzei Yerech Yaakov, 70 nefesh, and the total of all of Yaakov's progeny was 70. Yosef hayah b'Mitzrayim, and Yosef was in Egypt. So the Rebbe says an interesting thing. Sefer Bereshit is about the birth of the Jewish nation, right? Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and the 12 Shvatim, right? That was the preparation of the forming of the Jewish nation, right? And Sefer Shmot is about the Exodus and the giving of the Torah, right? So he says, so why doesn't Sefer Shmot begin with the Exodus? In other words, why begin by telling us these are the names of Yaakov and his children and their families, and then it tells us about our enslavement and eventual exodus? Why doesn't it just start off right away? We came down to Egypt, and we were stuck there, and then Hashem came and took us out from there, right? And then, started getting into the names and the names of the people and who we were, and that we became to Har Sinai, and we became a nation. But in fact, what the Torah is telling us is that we became a nation
before,
as we came into Mitzrayim. We became a nation right there in the exile, right? We're already called Am Yisrael while we're in Egypt, right? We're not called Am Yisrael. It's not only once we came out that we're called the Jewish people. We're the Jewish people already right in Mitzrayim, right? That's where we became a nation. So he says that it's dafka within the exile that we became a nation. Even though while we were in exile, that was just a preparation for receiving the Torah, right? But it's there that we became a nation. For example, a simple example, okay? You've heard of the expression, necessity is the mother of invention? No? In other words, what makes you want to think of something new? What makes you want to invent something? What?
The needs of the people.
Necessity, right? The needs, okay? I need something, right? I'm tired of walking up 22 floors to go and get my coffee. So can we find a better way? So somebody says, yeah, elevators, right? Okay. Now, likewise, we've seen, and we keep on seeing it, that people with challenges sometimes become so fantastic in any field that had it not been for the challenges, they wouldn't have achieved that much. Okay. Did you say Julie? What did you say? Julia. It's parle français, right? Okay. In Quebec, they have something called Lotto Quebec. It's a lottery, just like they have it all over the place, There was a study done a number of years ago, and it found that people who were working people and had simple lives and won the lottery, like $1 million or more, what happened to them? They lost it usually within a year, and their lives were ruined. Their lives were ruined. And there's many reasons for it, right? Who is a greater achiever usually? The one who went from rags to riches, or the kids who inherited the riches? Are greater achievers?
Yeah, they know what to do with
Then
it.
they're
What?
pardon? I'm sorry.
Like the kids of Bill Gates, they know what to do with money.
He doesn't have kids, but
They win them.
no, but
They don't do anything
you've never heard
No,
of people
yeah.
building up businesses and the kids take it over and it goes
No,
to
it
pot.
doesn't go down here.
It goes
The
to
people that have nothing and build it up,
it's in other
but
words.
they have to work
So
for it.
what we're saying is that it's dafka in the galut of having to work hard that you get to discover your talents in a much deeper way. Okay. And you actually achieve more. In other words, Am Yisrael, if we had become a nation not in Galut, okay, what would happen to us if afterwards we would go into Galut? The chances of surviving are far less, right? The people, my father, Reb Sholom, told me that during the Second World War, he and all the men from his town went across the border into Russia, and they were sent off to Siberia because when the Nazis entered Poland, nobody knew exactly what to expect, and usually they thought it would be a war like other wars, which usually meant that the men were the ones who were in the biggest danger. They would be taken to dig the trenches. They would be taken to be the human shields and things like that. So they crossed the border into Russia, where they faced disease and starvation and forced labor. Okay, and people were dropping like flies. Okay? My father told me that the people who had a comfortable life before the war, they found it the hardest to survive because they hadn't, right? So what happened in Mitzrayim, in those years that we were in Mitzrayim, what happened there was that for whatever the reason is, and that's an interesting topic as to like, how did that happen and why did it happen and so on, okay? But the idea is that being in Mitzrayim all those years basically taught us that we can be who we are even in the worst of situations. In other words, as much as the world might try to subdue us, to subjugate us, to destroy our identity, we can hold on to our identity. We can maintain it. Okay? So it's right there in the Galut. That's where we become an Am. Okay? Whatever hardship an individual is facing, is dafke through the hardship that you can really grow. It's a paradox of life. Okay, you need a shadow in order to see light. No shadow, you don't see anything.
And you need light.
You don't need the light to see a shadow. You need the shadow to see the light. Look at the wall. Right. If there would be no shadow, you wouldn't. Like if the light was just bright, you wouldn't see anything. Okay? So you need ra, you need bad in order to understand good. Sounds strange, but that's reality. Okay? And the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim, in a certain sense, models the reality of our souls coming from a very high place, coming down to live in this body, in this world. And it's definitely in this world that the soul can achieve something that it couldn't achieve in Shemayim. Okay? And not that it wasn't well up there, it was very well up in heaven, right? But it's definitely by the soul coming down to this coarse world and raising it and refining it and making this world, or creating spaces in this world where the truth and the reality of Hashem can manifest by doing Hashem's will and by learning Torah and by doing a lot of the Midut Chasadim, etc. It's definitely in this way that the neshama actually evolves and grows to higher levels. Okay, not that the neshama needs to grow, okay? but that's the benefit for the neshama, right? When the neshama comes down to this world, the baby is born with his hands closed, right, crying, "I don't want to be here," right? And then when we want to, so this is a mission. So it's announced in heaven. It says, "Al korchach ata chai." It's as much as you don't want to go down to this world, you're going down to this world, right? I mean, think about it. Did my neshama want to come down to this world just to go to a concert, or to go shopping, or huh?
Our Rabbi Kaplan has a great expert about this in his book Encounters.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That coming in from that.
Right.
That world.
You're coming from the most glorious place that you could possibly imagine, and the neshama is coming into this world, and oh my gosh, look at what I'm going to have to deal with over here, right? And it's tough, but then when we leave the world, the neshama doesn't want to leave either, for various reasons, right? So one is, for many of us, it's like, all those things I was denying all these years, I'm going to have to face the truth now, right? But even a holy man, a holy woman, their neshama also doesn't want to leave this world, because once we leave this world, we can't do mitzvot anymore.
Also, the relationships that we have with people in our lives.
Those, whether they continue or don't, I'm not going to say anything about that. Find yourself a good expert Kabbalist, and they can talk about that kind of thing. There's some Waknins. There's a big Rabbi Waknin right next door over here. There's the Rosh Yeshiva. There's a yeshiva right next door. The Waknins have a few Kabbalists in town. There's a few of them here in Nachlaot. Did you know that? Yeah. And the ones, how do you know who are the real ones? The ones who really don't want to talk. Yeah. Every Sephardi Jew knows that. Any Kabbalist who talks, don't trust them. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
They taught you? Your parents taught you?
Yeah.
Okay. So it might take you a while to find one that's going to be willing to talk to you. But
I'm saying it's not a reason why. That's not a reason why the neshama would be.
Before dying, yes, it will be a reason, for sure. Am I going to see you again, type of thing, right? My mother, she should be well. She's going to be turning 94, and she's not doing that great. But every day that I call her, she says, "I want to live," even though her life compared to what it used to be like, it's like one of her caregivers says, these people reach this age and they're really alive just so that we can do mitzvot, because the quality of their lives is They're living for us so that we can do the mitzvah of Kibud Avayim. Because that's when the mitzvah really begins. It's when they need us more than we need them. You know, so long as you need your mother's car or her credit card, and you're giving her honor and respect, it's not quite the honor and it's not the same thing as when one's mother needs to be taken to the bathroom and needs to be helped to get dressed and so on. That's when you really do. That's the way the Gemara defines kaved tavicha v'tibecha, honor your father and mother.
My parents say that to me all the time.
What?
Just you wait till you have to take care of us. Just you wait till you have to feed us.
Yeah, it's let me put it this way: the American solution of putting them into old age homes is not such a good solution. You know, some of them are okay, but here in the Haredi families, where they have 10, 12 kids or more, right? So what do they do with, like, for example, one of my friends has an elderly mother. So every day of the week, another one of the kids is with her. You understand? It's functional. You can function.
That's very lucky. It doesn't happen always.
In the larger families, it usually happens because, see, when it's a small family, like you're an only child, right? You would feel very burdened.
Oh, no.
You like, you know, to have to do this all by yourself all the time, right? But when you have, like, you know, so you can go and adopt 9 brothers and sisters fast.
Bye.
Marry somebody with from a big family.
Working on it.
And have lots of children and have the grandchildren.
That
You're on today. You're on today.
working on it.
It's not the shame, right?
Okay.
Okay. So even the holy person doesn't really want to leave this world because they want to do one more mitzvah. Okay? They'd rather be in pain lying in a hospital bed so they can say Shema one more time than to leave already. Even somebody who doesn't have to be worried about, you know, retribution. Okay. So why did we get into that last thing? We're going to just finish with this right now. So it's the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim also parallels the story of the soul coming down to this world and developing and growing. Because for the soul, this world is exile. Exile. You're coming from a very high, beautiful, unbelievable place. You're coming down into this world where so much of the world simply denies that you ever came from somewhere so special. This world basically says, "What are you talking about? This is reality. There's nothing else," right? Right? And all that is part of the Mitzrayim that the soul has to work to be able to recognize and to navigate in this world. Right? So just imagine 1 grain of salt and a big jar of salt. Whatever we did tonight is like no more than just 1 grain in this story. I've been learning this story for over 50 years. Every year there's so much more to learn, so much more to learn. There's really so much more. What are you meditating
on? Just like that last line.
Yeah. Okay, so if somebody used to say, "I bless you and bless me back," bless me and I bless you back, that we should take a few minutes in the next 24 hours and actually give ourselves a treat of trying to visualize being at Har Sinai. And if you're scared but not happy, you're not there. Then you're just scared. If you're really there, you'll know, oh wow, I'm really in awe, but I love this. Right? I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Then you're there. Okay. Okay, thank you so much for coming.
And why did you ask us the first question on the beginning?
Yeah, I was thinking of that also.
If how we got along with other people.
Because, thank you for asking that. Thank you for asking. I was going to go into that and then I started going in a bit of a different direction. Thanks for reminding me. Because a big part of the enslavement, right, one of the first stories in the Parshas, Moshe Rabbeinu grows up, Paro gives him an important position. He goes out to see what's happening with his people. He sees an Egyptian beating the Jew, right? And he takes care of him, right? Kills the Egyptian. The next day he sees two Jews fighting. And he says to the one who's lifting his hand, "Wicked one, why are you hitting your friend?" Right? And they say, "You're planning to kill us like you killed the Egyptian," right? And so right away we're encountering that it's, well, I did speak about it, but it's the conflict amongst ourselves that allows us to get enslaved. Right? And I was just concerned because I personally found that